I don't know how people do YouTube. This is like my 10th time trying to do just the introduction. Just the introduction. It's actually ridiculous. Oh my gosh. This video is so long overdue that it's actually disrespectful. It's disgusting. Disgusting! Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a breakdown, explanation, whatever you want to call it, video regarding my EP Skyfalls. I'm talking super slow now because I don't want to film this introduction again. It's getting ridiculous. So I released an EP called Skyfalls in December. It's been about 3 months now since it dropped, and I was supposed to do this video maybe like a week later, 2 weeks max, but I was just like, I don't want to do it. But a whole bunch of people hit me up and they were just like, no, you should do it. We want to know the inspiration behind each of the songs. Just give us a little explanation. Let us pick your brain a little bit. So I was just like, you know what? You got to give the people what they want. So here I am, and we're going to do this. Let's get into it. So first, let me start off by saying that I nicknamed Skyfalls the 2020 EP because all of these songs were written and inspired by the chaotic year that 2020 was. We were in a panorama. We're still in the Pangea, so nothing has changed regarding that.
I don't got that kind of time because it's the panoramic. Okay.
But Skyfalls is the first track. It's the title track of the EP, and essentially it's a song about the end of the world because that's what 2020 felt like. But I'm a lover boy, so I had to make it into a love song, and essentially it's about somebody who is trying to find their lover in the midst of the world ending and all the chaos. It was partly inspired by that song. I can't remember his name. I want to say it's JP Sax, but I'm not sure if that's his name, so if it's not, I apologize. But it's the song that goes, if the world was ending, you'd come over, right? So it was kind of inspired by that, in the sense that, like, if the world was ending, you would want to be with somebody that you love, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic partner. It could be anybody, but like I said, lover boy over here, so it was a love song. So I don't remember when I started writing it, but I do know that it started with the instrumental. It started with the kick, and I kind of wanted it to be like a pop rock, soft rock type thing. I was kind of in my Avril Lavigne bag when I was thinking about it. So that's a pretty straightforward explanation about it. It's a love song about the end of the world, and the main person of the song is just trying to get to their lover before the world ends, so that, if they die, at least you died in the arms of your lover. I guess. Super corny, but Skyfalls is probably one of my favorite songs on the whole project because it's just so fun and lighthearted. The world is ending, but also at least you got a chill bop to vibe to while it's ending. I don't know. All right, so song number 2 is Pretend. I actually don't want to spend too much time on this song because I feel like it's pretty straightforward, and also the events that inspired it are still a little bit sensitive, so like, I'm in pain, but yeah, so Pretend is a breakup song. I actually released it summer of 2020, way before the EP came out. Essentially it's a breakup song, and it's kind of one of those moments that maybe you've had, maybe you haven't, where you know that something is coming to an end, but you're kind of still in denial about it because you don't want it to end, but it's kind of just like the end is inevitable here. So the chorus says, for the rest of the night, can we just pretend that it's not really over? So it's kind of just like, things are coming to an end, but in the meantime, let's just pretend like everything is all good, and when tomorrow comes, we'll deal with tomorrow accordingly. So that is Pretend. Okay. All right, so the next song is Reflection, and when I first started working on the project and I was putting all the songs together and I was mixing and stuff, Skyfalls was actually my favorite song, But the more I listened to the EP and the more I was like putting the project together, I think Reflection might be my number one song as far as my favorites go. So I wrote this song kinda in the beginning stages of the pandemic. It was in April, and I feel like in the beginning, like the first 2 months of the pandemic, everybody was talking about how we were being forced to slow down. Most of us were either being laid off, furloughed, or being forced to work at home. So it's kind of like the whole world was put on pause, and we were under quarantine, which meant we had to stay home. And I feel like for a lot of people, myself included, it was the first time we were really forced to be with ourselves. And so the whole premise of Reflection came from me kind of self-reflecting during this pandemic. And it's kind of like, you know who you are, or at least you should know who you are, but is who you are the same person that you show to the world? That's the premise of the song. I think that having that time to self-reflect, a lot of us realized things that we didn't know about ourselves, or we were forced to face the things that we tried to hide away from everybody else. So that's kind of like the point of the song, like, who are you by yourself, and who's the person that you portray to the world? So when I say, when you look at yourself, are you afraid of your reflection? It's kind of like when you really do that introspective work of, checking your heart, checking your bad habits, checking your motives, like just doing a lot of reflection. Do you still look at yourself the same way is essentially the point of the song. So aside from the message of the song, I also like the vibe of the song. It was actually inspired by this Chris Brown song called Red. I was in my car one day listening to I want to say it's Heartbreak on a Full Moon. I don't remember which album it is. One of the albums with like 34 songs, and the song came on and I was listening to it and I was like, oh, I like this, and I started freestyling to it, and I created a chorus like while I was in my car, and then when I got home I put it in my notes app, and then as life was lifing, it kind of inspired the rest of the lyrics of the song, and that's how I came up with Reflection. So the next song is OCD, and this was actually the hardest song for me to work on. I'm not sure if it's because it was so personal or it's because I couldn't really find the words to express it. But for those of you who don't know, I was diagnosed with OCD at the end of 2019. OCD stands for obsessive compulsive disorder, and I'm not really going to go into it too much, but I do encourage everybody to kind of do a quick Google search on what it is, because I think that when we hear OCD, we automatically think of someone who can't stop washing their hands, or we think about somebody who's like overly organized. And while those may be some themes of OCD, it's not the entirety of the disorder. So, do yourself a favor, educate yourself, and yeah. So I was pretty intentional with the instrumental on this one. For the most part, all of my songs are just like looped, but I added some additional elements to the song to emphasize what it's like having OCD. So, the first verse opens up with "Wake up each day with a song in my head," and then I talk about how it never ever ends. So there's different elements of the instrumental, like the bell. It kind of sounds like a xylophone. That's like on repeat, it's on a loop, and then also you can hear the voice that says never ever ends, never ever ends, never ever ends. So that was intentional on my part. I really wanted to emphasize what it's like to have reoccurring thoughts in your head that you feel like you can't get rid of. And then towards the end of the song, after I say I pray, and then I'm like, send me a sign, that's kind of like just me saying a prayer. And if you're paying attention to the instrumental, after I say that prayer, the voice that's saying never ever ends doesn't come back in the song. And so it kind of just symbolizes that after I pray, there's some peace that comes after I've surrendered these anxious thoughts to the Lord. The bell is still going, but the voice is gone. So it kind of just signifies that, of course, I still get anxious. Of course, these thoughts still reoccur, but it's not as distressing. So that was kind of how I, and I guess you wouldn't know that unless I explained it to you, but somebody did actually catch on to that, and they asked me about it. They were just like, did you like do something with the instrumental? And I was just like, yeah, I'm kind of glad you peeped that. So that's how that works. So the part where I say like, why are you so sad? Why are you so blue? Those are kind of some of the thoughts that I have like battled with myself, where it's just like kind of like the guilt and the shame that comes with having anxiety or any kind of mental disorder, where you feel like, why am I dealing with this? Like, why can't I get rid of these anxious thoughts? Like, what do I have to be upset about? I'm blessed. You know, the Bible says don't be anxious. Obviously you don't trust God. Like what's wrong with you, essentially? So yeah, that's kind of just some of the thoughts that I've had to battle, and so I put that in the song. You know, by the grace of God, I'm actually in a much better mental space. So, you know, praise God for that. But yeah, so OCD is just part of my story. But, you know, it gets better. We move. All right, so the last song that we have to cover is You're Right Here. I'm not really going to talk about the Skyfalls outro because that's exactly what it is. It's just an outro that wraps up the EP. But You're Right Here is probably the only song that didn't really have anything to do with 2020. I actually wrote it with an instrumental that I did first. I feel like I use a lot of the same chords in my instrumental, so I was just playing around on my piano trying to play different chords, like major chords, minor chords, and all that stuff, and it sounded good, so I finished it up and then I just wrote something to it. It's another love song, but I actually don't want it to necessarily be like a romantic love song. It could be anything, because it's about like somebody being there with you. So it could be a romantic partner, it could be a mother, a father, a child, your dog, like whoever you love. I recorded it in one take, partly because like the first take sounded good, and then also I was lazy. I was just like, you know what, if we can get it done in one take, that's all we need. And that's exactly what we did. So yeah, so that's all I have to say about that song. There's really not much to it. Sorry if you thought there was more, but there's not. Alright guys, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. I think I've said everything that I needed to say about each song. Unless it's IG stories, I really hate sitting in front of the camera because I overthink things and then I have to do multiple takes and I just feel awkward, and then I just feel like I'm rambling, and it's like, is what I'm saying even making sense? Like, I should have took notes and did like bullet points so I could like have something to follow, but I didn't because I didn't want to do this video. If you have any more questions about Skyfalls, drop a question down in the comments, DM me, let me know. Thank you guys so much for streaming it. You guys got me to like 300 streams in the first week, which is wild because I've never seen that before, and I was just like, dang, y'all really rocking with me. So shout out to you. I have some stuff that's on the way. I can't tell you exactly what it is because I don't know what it is, but just know I have stuff on the way. New music, hopefully some visuals, and yeah. See, like, I don't know how to wrap this up. Bye. That's the end. Bye. Don't need anybody. Hey guys, so today I am going to be doing, can I speak English? Going to be doing, what was that?